got a really great program planned for you today. And I want to thank everyone for joining August edition of our Experts and Insights series. Today's program is titled Embark on Your Next Journey, Travel Tips and Benefits. We have a lot of exciting things planned for you today. I know I've said that a million times, but we really do. And we're so excited that you're here. So first, we're going to hear from an expert in the field. And then Senior Planet Trainer Johnny Hernandez is going to facilitate a Q&A for our presenter. And then Johnny is going to do a short tech demo on Airbnb. And you're going to learn the basics of using the Airbnb app, from booking and managing reservations to reviewing best practices for a comfortable stay. We'll then close by asking for your insights both on this program and on Airbnb. Lastly, we'll be hosting a couple of follow-up sessions next week that we want to call out that we don't want you to miss. First, we're gonna continue this conversation on Wednesday in our Wellness Wednesday session, and then we have a couple of programs that we want to highlight, specifically our lectures. One is our Intro to Digital Wallets lecture that's going to be offered next Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And then we have our Virtual Museum Tours lecture that's going to be offered next Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Staley is going to drop those links in the chat for you right now, and we'll share more details about those at towards the end of our session today. Now, before I introduce our presenter, I do want to mention that Senior Planet seeks out subject matter experts for these programs, and many of which have used their expertise in the for-profit sector. We are thrilled to have Jay here today, as he has a lot of fantastic information to share with you. But we do want to note that as a nonprofit, Oats and Senior Planet does not endorse any particular platforms or products. So we encourage all of you to take learnings from our presenter today, but also look at the market to see what, if any, products on this topic might be a good fit for you. So with that, I would like to introduce Jay Wei, founder and CEO of Discover Live. He's a visionary entrepreneur who has made world exploration experiences more accessible to the average person. With a passion for travel shared with his family, Jay has guided global consumer brands, developed innovative products, and merged traditional industry with cutting-edge technology. He is a recognized thought leader advocating for travel's role in personal development and well-being, with insights shared through podcasts, the book Me Time Monday, and an upcoming documentary, Fully Booked. Based in Westchester County, New York, Jay supports his two high school sons in their academic and athletic pursuits while also mentoring businesses. An accomplished martial artist with a black belt in Taekwondo, he exemplifies discipline and continuous self-improvement in both his personal and professional life. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Jay.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. I've been watching the chat message. There's so many wise answers to Nicole's question. Now, I just want to share my answer to that. Now, remember the icebreaking question is, what's a piece of advice you would give to your 20-year-old self about travel? My answer would be, before you travel, take your lens off. Don't 100% trust what you read, especially through the media. Let the world reveal itself for you. So that would be my answer. Let me just get myself ready for the presentation. Okay, you guys can see my screen here, right? All right, so before we start, let me just very quickly introduce myself as well, and just give you a little bit more context about who I am. So my name is Jason Wei. You can call me Jay or Jason, doesn't matter. So I've been the founder and the CEO of Discover Life for the past 7 years. And my passion actually before that, for some of you who have taken our tours in the past, I want to thank you for traveling the world together with us. I hope you have enjoyed all those tours. My passion for travel started very early. I have been fortunate enough to visit over 35 countries across 5 different continents since I was 7 years old. In recent years, I have expanded my horizons even further, virtually traveled to over 200 different destinations multiple times through Discover Life. I'm also a proud member of the World Federation of Tourist Guide Association, and the film, like both my team and also Discover Life, were also honored to be featured in the upcoming documentary film called Fully Booked. So this is a film that highlighting the most innovating companies shaping the future of accessible and sustainable travel. Just want to give you a little bit context on that. Now, before I go to the next slide, I'm actually going to turn off my video because I know depending on the devices that you're all using, my head sometimes may be blocking the content in the presentation. So I want to turn it off because I think the content is more beautiful and more important than my face. So let me do that. And also, before I move on, from time to time, I will be posting some of the useful information in the chat here as well. So just keep in mind for that as well. Now, let's talk about why we are here today. Many of us know that as we age, our lifestyles can become more sedentary. Unfortunately, it's common for elderly individuals to lead increasingly inactive lifestyles. I remember reading a most recent report the other day. It was saying that especially for people over 50 years old, I think as high as 40% of the individuals, they started to have a decreasing physical activity. And this often results in the lack of vibrancy, adventure, and holistic wellness in our daily lives. But it doesn't have to be this way. In fact, there is a powerful tool that can dramatically enhance the quality of life for older adults. I want to see what you guys have here. Can you guess what that is? What is that powerful tool? Any answers for this? That is awesome. At 77, I haven't slowed down a bit yet. Kudos to you. So the answer is travel. Yes, Rebecca, you're absolutely right. So let's explore a little bit more on how travel can be a game changer for seniors. Now, travel is not just a luxury or a pastime. It's actually a vital component of a fulfilling life, especially as we age. It's a tool that can enhance our quality of life in numerous ways. One of the most exciting aspects of travel is that it caters to all 6 dimensions of wellness. I don't know how many of you guys have heard about this, but these dimensions, as defined by the National Wellness Institutes, encompass our physical, intellectual, occupational, spiritual, social, and emotional well-being. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into why travel is so important for older adults, from each one of those dimensions perspective. And when I'm talking, about those wellnesses, I'd like to hear your experience and stories in the chat as well. Okay, so feel free to put that in there. Now, we all know during the travel, we tend to walk more or we have more physical activities. So that increases our daily physical activity. And the matter of fact, many times we could expose ourselves in new climates that boosts our immune system. And it also usually breaks our routine to improve our sleep pattern. So travel helps us on physical wellness. During travel, we also learn new things, no matter if it's cultures, histories, or languages, to exposure to new perspectives. And many times we also improve our problem-solving skills by navigating unfamiliar situations or locations, right? So these are all helping us to improve our intellectual wellness. So how that relates to our occupational wellness? During travel, from time to time, we can learn new skills that can be applied to hobbies or part-time work that we're working on. But most importantly, I know some older adults travel to another country while providing volunteering work, no matter in education or healthcare or agriculture. As a matter of fact, there's a company called voluntourism.org, and they're specialized in actually facilitating this type of travel experiences. So for the people who are actually taking advantage of this type of travel experience, it gives them the occupational wellness. Many times, we can also visit sacred places to gain broader perspective on life and the once places in the world. We can learn about and respect the different belief systems exist in different parts of the world. But one thing I want to point out, the spiritual wellness doesn't have to be tied to religion. It can be as simple as someone finds peace and a perspective while watching the sunrise at Machu Picchu. I don't know how many times I have done physically and virtually actually watching the sunrise on the Great Wall. Just that quiet, peaceful environment makes me to think a lot. It makes me to find peace and make me to totally release my stress. So that's the spiritual part of the wellness travel brings to us. During the travel, we always meet new people and make new friends from diverse backgrounds. It also helps us to strengthen our bonds with travel companions. Now, let me ask you a question, like how many of you remembers the fun time that you had with family or friends when traveling together? Now, those memories stay with people forever. A lot of times, I don't remember the other things, but I do remember the time that I had with my friends traveling together, going through some really wonderful experiences. And quite honestly, many times you also make new friends after the travel with the people who share similar travel passions or experiences. So that benefit doesn't necessarily stop, as soon as the travel ends. And most people, including me, I feel happier and more fulfilling after travel. It's just me. I'm sure a lot of people probably agree with me. And from reducing stress to increase self-confidence to improve mood, from exposure to experiences to a sense of accomplishments, right? From checking off the bucket list item that you always want to accomplish. Now you can finally get to check it off and you feel so good about it. So travel brings emotional wellness to all of us as well. So as you can see, travel addresses every single dimensions of wellness for us to live a long and healthy life. So now we know travel is not just important for seniors, it's essential. World exploration boosts physical wellness by encouraging us to be more active. It enhances our social connections as we meet new people and share experiences. And more importantly, guess what? It stimulates our brain activity. It keeps our minds sharp and engaged. And all of these factors contribute significantly to improving seniors' overall quality of life. Travel is a good thing. Now, that we now understand why travel is so beneficial, right? So let's discuss some practical tips to make your travel experiences even more rewarding and manageable. Again, I encourage you to put into the chat about your tips as well, because I'm sure a lot of people in this group have traveled in the past, and we're all learning from each other. So the first thing about travel I want to point out is the proper planning and the preparation. And I believe those are the key to a successful trip. Start by choosing the right destination based on your wellness goals. Right now, you know the 6 dimensions of wellness. What is your wellness goals? Choose the destinations, right destinations based on your wellness goals. Consider accessibility needs. This is crucial for making sure that we have a comfortable and enjoyable experience. I would recommend people to also research senior-friendly accommodations and activities at your destination. And don't be afraid to embrace the on-itinerary approach for flexibility. Now, we all know sometimes the best experiences are unplanned, right? I just want to give you a most recent example that I had. During this past weekend, I was doing some college visit with my son in Boston. On my way back home in New York, I was thinking maybe I should stop in Cape Cod to get a more authentic lobster roll. And guess what? That little detour not only allowed me to see Sue, who is also here in this group. Sue is my business partner. Not only allows me to see her childhood home, but also allowed my son to see the Gillette Stadium that he always wanted to see, and I just never had time to bring him to. And our entire family got to enjoy one of the most beautiful beaches in Cape Cod in Chatham. So as you can see, like many times, we got surprising benefits from the unplanned part of the trip. Literally what I did was when I was trying to like on my way back, I saw this on the highway, the two signs. One is going to Cape Cod and one is going to New York. Instead of turning right, I decided to turn left. And it was one of the most wonderful, surprising little break that I had, during the past year. So that's always wonderful. Lastly, during the planning and the preparation stage, you also wanted to take advantage of technology and services that were non-existing just a few years ago. For example, you can take the virtual tours where you can ask questions directly to a tour guide to get destination tips only the locals know, or watch YouTube videos can all help you prepare for your physical travel and make your travel much more prepared, much more empowered. We all know travel will cost money. That is a given, but it does not have to break the bank. There are many ways to make it more affordable. So first of all, always look for senior discounts. They're actually more common than what you and I might think. Always ask for the organizations or travel planners, the agencies, the destinations. Do you offer discounts for seniors? I would also suggest you to consider setting up a round-the-world piggy bank saving strategy to fund your adventure. To do this is actually very simple. So you create a goal for how much money you need to save to fund a certain trip. You create a separate savings account only for travel. And then, regularly you contribute a set amount of money into the savings account. It can be a percentage of the income, or simply just eliminate some of your coffee breaks during the day and put the coffee money into that account. You could also ask your friends and family to pitch into your savings account during your birthday or holidays instead of giving you traditional gifts. Another way that you can budget for travel is through travel bartering. So basically, this is actually a very creative way to exchange skills for experiences. Some of the skills that you can exchange for the people at your destination. You can teach them a language, for example. You can offer consulting services, or you can offer your writing services to somebody or some organizations at the destination if you're skilled at that. Some people that I know, they participate in community projects, and I've seen more and more people, they actually swapping their homes. So there are different ways from, to do this travel bartering. I'm going to actually put into the chat 3 organizations that I think they offer a pretty good program that you can check into as well. Now, you should also not be shy about legacy gifting involve your families in funding your dream trips. It can be a wonderful way to create shared experiences. But last but not the least, always budget for unexpected expenses because it will happen. You just don't know when. That is going to avoid a lot of stress during our trips. During the travel, I think you all agree with me, and I think we all agree. Your health and safety should always be a top priority. You want to schedule pre-trip medical checkups and get any necessary vaccinations. And you can talk to your physicians and the doctors and tell them that where you will be traveling to and have them to give you the necessary vaccinations. Especially understanding your medical condition. Have a plan for managing medications while traveling. So for example, bring more than enough. Pack extra medications to account for potential travel delays or extensions. Who knows when that will happen? It does happen. And I feel like it happens more and more often these days. Usually, a good rule of thumb for me is to bring at least a week's worth of extra medication. And you want to keep the medications in original containers. This helps with airport security and also provides important information about the medication. Sometimes I've seen like people take their medication out and put into the weekly dispensing boxes. You can still do that, but always keep your original container because it has all those information that you will need. You want to consider asking your pharmacist before your trip for travel-sized containers if they have those, and making sure the travel-sized containers have the proper labeling on that as well. You want to have a copy of the actual prescription or a doctor's note, especially for controlled substances. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this one later time as well. And you want to put all of your essential medications in your carry-on luggage. You don't want to put those into the checked baggage. I made a mistake once and I actually lost my luggage. And in addition to that, it's all of my medication. Since then, I always bring, my medication if I need into my carry-on luggage. And one thing that is usually being overlooked is to store the medications properly. You want to be aware of the storage requirements, especially for medications that need refrigeration. Before the travel, during the travel, and after the travel, you need to figure out ways how to actually carry them and how to store them properly. As part of the planning for medication, you also need to learn local laws. Some medications that are legal here in the US might be restricted in other places, and you don't want to get into any of those issues while traveling overseas. And one thing that I also suggest is to wear a bracelet or necklace that lists important medical information of you, actually, like blood types, allergic reactions, major medical history, etc. One particular product that I know my parents use and they really like is a product called TapMed ID, which is distributed by a company called Pivotal Health Tech. It's a simple bracelet that is not battery powered. This is one of those things. When I travel, I usually try not to wear as many things that is battery powered as possible, just because I don't know when the battery is gonna die, right? So this particular bracelet that is not battery powered, but you register for an account on their website and input your medical information. The QR code printed on the bracelet is specifically for you. So anyone who has a smartphone can quickly scan your QR code and get your medical information. And this is especially helpful when you are in an emergency situation in a different country. One other thing that you don't want to forget is to arrange the appropriate travel insurance. It's a small cost, but for a great peace of mind. There are many different travel insurance options for seniors out there. I'm going to only talk about probably like two major ones and one minor ones. The first one is a comprehensive travel insurance. It covers a wide range of potential issues, including trip cancellation, medical emergencies, lost luggage, or travel delays. And this is the most suitable for the seniors due to its extensive coverage. Another type of insurance is called medical travel insurance. It focuses specifically on covering medical emergencies during travel. And this is important for the travelers with pre-existing conditions or other travel, or other conditions that that could get expensive when you're traveling to at the destination country. And one thing that you wanted to check off is some of the policies offer waivers for pre-existing conditions if you purchase the insurance within a certain time frame of the initial trip deposit. So some of the key features that you want to look for when you're purchasing the travel insurance. One is the age-specific coverage. Some policies are designed specifically for seniors with no upper age limit. Those are good ones. A little bit more expensive, but those are good ones. You want to get emergency evacuation coverage, particularly important to travel to remote areas, for example. You want to have 24/7 assistance services, right? It's, when something happens, you want to get a hold of somebody right away, and they needs to be there when you need them. You want to have the coverage for pre-existing conditions. You just need to make sure that you check it. This is essential for many seniors with chronic, health issues. So we talked about the medical checkups, vaccination. We talked about the medication. We talked about travel insurance. Now, let's consider practicing jet lag yoga and the meditation to help your body adjust to new time zones. Now, our bodies are all different, and different people react to the jet lag differently. If you are one of those people that really having hard time to adjust to the new time zone, I have included two links for the two videos from YouTube. And by no means that I would recommend any of those, because there are plenty of the similar videos on YouTube. But those can be helpful. I would suggest if you are get to that stage that you wanted to do some practice, go to the YouTube and look for the videos that has most of the followers, and also making sure that you read all those comments from the followers talking about the video. You can learn quite a lot from that. And many times, some people could even suggest some alternative routines to help them to get rid of the jet lag. Safety tips. I do want to spend some time on that because safety is so important. I've learned a lot throughout the year. And I'd like to share some of them with you here. Okay. And again, I wanted to have you guys to participate and to put your tips in here for everybody to see as well. First of all, is to keep the valuables secure. Use a money belt or hidden pouch for important documents and cash. If you're traveling with some close family members or friends, I'd also recommend you to put money in different places on your body, or divide up the money amongst different people. When I travel with my family, I usually divide up the money that as a family we need to use for the day. Some of those on my body, some of them on my wife's body, some of them on my son's body, and we divide it up. And even on my body, some of the money is in my wallet, some of the money is in my pocket, and then some of the money is actually in my backpack. just in case, right? Something is stolen and you still have something that you have on your hands that you can spare. The second tip I wanted to say here is avoid displaying expensive jewelry in the public. I know this is probably is quite a common knowledge amongst a lot of people. One thing that people don't necessarily consider is their cell phones, because cell phones are also valuable in many different countries. Cell phones can be very expensive, and it can be a target for people. So what I usually do is when I travel, I actually have this special travel version of the phone case that is just as plain as it can be, and it has a cover to cover the camera lenses, so people never know which model of phone that I'm carrying. So that's just like one of those things that you will need to use phones, and if we have to take out the phones in public, just make sure that don't draw attention, from people. And I would also use ATMs inside banks whenever possible. And you want to research the safe areas in your destination. One of my favorite sites for me to get the information of how safe, a particular area in a different, a part of the world is actually TripAdvisor. TripAdvisor has a forum. And I found it's an invaluable resource for reading user reviews about neighborhoods and accommodations. The forum also allows you to post specific questions about safety concerns and get responses from recent travelers or locals. That is one of my most favorite places to get the safety information. And there are other websites, I believe, that you can search for to get those information. And some of the, I think the local tourism bureau, tourism organization or tourism bureau websites, you can also reach out to get that information. You want to use a reputable transportation service and avoid unlicensed taxis. For those of us who have traveled to many different countries before, and in certain locations, even before you get out of the departure hall, you are already surrounded by a group of people, and every one of them want to sell you their transportation services. And if you're not familiar with that country, not yet, if you're new to that location, even if you have been there for many times, I would still suggest you to use reputable services. And usually there is a line, there's a stand for taxi. I would encourage you to take the taxi, even if you have to wait in line for a little bit. And the Uber and the Lyfts are getting more and more popular in different places. Although they're not, in my own opinion, they're not as good. I mean, their quality is inconsistent compared to the taxi. But they do built in extra security measures, which is better than, if you just, take some of the cars. And many of the cars, and they may not even have a license, and you don't want to get into issues with the local laws as well. And another thing that I would usually do is to keep copies of important documents, no matter if it's my passports or insurance information, separate from the originals. And leaving a copy with a trusted person, whether at home or a close friend. Additionally, one thing that I always do is actually scan my passport, my credit card, my insurance information, all those information. I scan them using a scanner, and I send an email to myself and to the other person that I trust. So that way, anytime that when you need those information, you can always find it. Even if you lost your phone, you just borrow a phone from somebody or go to an internet cafe or go to the hotel. They'll always have internet terminal somewhere. As long as you have the terminal, you can log into your email, you can retrieve all those information. And sometimes, to me, that's one of the most effective ways for that. And lastly, you want to learn a few key phrases in the local language, including how to ask for help before you leave for the trip. And one thing that you don't want to forget is the Senior Planet Community Platform. It's a great resource for travel tips from fellow seniors. And they will be putting, or I will be putting a link in here right at this moment. This is a great resource for everybody here. All right, let's move on to the next slides. So when it comes to getting around, choose the mode of transportation that best suits your needs and preferences. If you're flying, take time to familiarize yourself with navigating airports. Some of those airports just humongous. It's incredibly confusing. The more you know about the airports, especially if you have connecting flights, the better. One thing I'd like to specifically point out is also to embrace the slow boat philosophy for a more stress-free journey. So this philosophy really encourages us to slow down and savor the journey, not just the destination. It's about taking time to absorb the experiences rather than rushing from one attraction to another. I've seen people like, taking the big travel buses, they probably spend the 8 hours or 9 hours traveling to 8 or 9 or 10 or even more destinations. And they spend a lot of time on the on the road, and then they just stop at one place, drop people off 15, 20 minutes, and then everything's rushed, come back at the end of the day, you don't even remember where you actually have been to because everything started mixing up. And that's the type of tour, especially when we age, I would recommend to stay away from. And especially, this approach can be particularly beneficial for those with mobility issues or health concerns. And one thing that, if you have mobility limitations, don't let that stop you. There are many adaptive strategies and accessible options available. The key is to plan ahead and communicate your needs. One thing that I wanted to just put in here in the chat is some of the companies I feel like they are really good at providing the accessible information. Let me just see if I can copy this. And I'll put that into the chat here as well. I don't know what's going on. I cannot copy. So I'll do that later. I'll put it in the chat at a later time, okay? Okay, I'm here. So your accommodation can also greatly impact your travel experience. Look for senior-friendly hotels or rentals that cater to your specific needs. For a more immersive experience, I recommend you to consider the pop-up grandparent approach. Basically, you're staying with local families. Those approach can provide a really unique cultural insights. And this pop-up grandparent approach also allows travelers to experience the daily lives in their destination more authentically by living with the locals. And many times, those host families, they could have family members in different ages. So there's also the intergenerational benefits comes along with it. For longer stays, in my experience, this can be a more affordable option compared to the hotels. And one of the other benefit of staying some other families at the destination is it actually provides you the comfort and the homey atmosphere than most of the hotel rooms. So that is the pop-up grandparent approach. If you are a spiritually inclined monastery retreats can offer both historical and spiritual enrichments. And most of the time, basically most of the time you stay in or near a monastery or similar religious institution, you can experience daily rhythms of the monastic life with the locals. And it provides you opportunities for quiet reflection, meditation, or prayer. And you could also participate in spiritual practices or discussions. The bottom line is, whatever you choose, don't hesitate to communicate your special needs to accommodation providers. So here's our favorite part, technology. Technology can greatly enhance your travel experience. Familiarize yourself with smartphone apps that can assist with navigation, translation, and the local information. And you also want to stay connected with family back home to share your experiences and for peace of mind, right? People want to know where you're at, and you want to share. You want to share where you're at, you have been to, what you learned with the rest of the family back home. And you want to consider creating what I call it, a digital travel time capsule. It's basically a collections of photos and memories to share with the loved ones. So every time my parents in their late 70s now, every time, but they still very active, they travel all over the place. Every time when my parents come back from their trip, my dad always creates a video with music showing the rest of the family about their trip. It's very popular, and it kept my dad busy for at least 3 weeks after each of their trips. It's also a great conversation starter with all of his children and grandchildren. And he also shares, he actually creates a more simplified version of it and share it in their college classmates social groups, where both my dad and my mom are part of. So that really brings them a lot more joy, with that time capsule that they created for the travel. Lastly, don't forget about the AI-powered translation tools. They can be incredibly helpful for real-time communication and also the cultural understanding. And as a matter of fact, I don't think I can travel nowadays without Google Translate. I don't know how I traveled before. And I know after the session at 3, Johnny is going to share with everybody how to book travel with Airbnb. And I think he's also going to share a video about using AI to create travel itineraries. Technology is in our everyday life now, and we gotta have to take advantage of it. It's gonna make our travel so much easier and so much powerful. Now, one of the greatest joys of travel is immersing yourself in new cultures. I think we all agree with that. Always respect local custom and traditions and the laws. You just don't know something that you think is right here. It may not feel right somewhere else. And you never even want to get into that kind of trouble. So study those before and ask the locals. If you something that you don't feel, you don't know if it's right or wrong, aim on the more conservative side or ask the locals. And look for the homestays for a more authentic experience, like what we have discussed earlier. If you're interested in your family history, you can also consider ancestry tours that trace family history and roots. And yes, a lot of people don't know. Ancestry also provide heritage travel services, both virtually and in person. After this presentation, I'll put some of the links in there as well. And don't miss out on wisdom exchange opportunities with local elders. So if you're visiting a new city or a new country, I highly encourage you to actually visit the senior centers in your destination areas. And that can lead to wonderful connections and insights. And who knows, maybe lifelong friendship. You just never know. I really encourage you to do that. And many times there is a website called the Meetup, or they have an app as well. You could also easily just find an event that is organized by older adults in the local destination at your destination city, and sign up and participate in those. There are many ways you can exchange the wisdom. To truly capture the essence of your travel, you need to engage all of your senses as much as you can. So I encourage you to try the 5-sense travel journal technique to record your experience in a more richer detail. The 5 senses include sight, sound, smell, taste, and the touch, right? So this approach can create a much more vivid and a complete memory of the journey. You can also embrace sensational travel. And you could be traveling to a lavender farm in France, or a coffee shop in Italy, or at a fishing village by the Adriatic Sea. Each location smells differently. Local fragrances, scented candles, essential oils, spices, all those things that you can buy locally can capture the smell at those locations. And those are good ways for you to capture the aroma from those places. If you don't have those, at a minimum, you want to take out your pen and paper and write down the detailed descriptions of the exact smell that you had experienced and the environment where you were at. And you want to capture those as accurately as possible. And you can also create a touch museums, right? A lot of the textual souvenirs that you buy, those always brings memories home. And don't forget the sound mapping. Nowadays, everybody have phones. You can capture the unique sounds of your destination. And those can provide immersive recall long after your trip. Now, if you think the end of travel is the end of the benefit of travel, it is not. The benefits of travel don't end when you return home. You can host global grandchildren days to share your travel lessons with younger generations. You can create travel-inspired life changes action plans to incorporate what you have learned into your daily life, no matter if it's a dietary recipe that you learned, or if it's a yoga practice that you learn, you pick up from the local, whatever that is, incorporate those into your daily routines. You can celebrate your new perspective with what I call it, a reverse culture shock party, to help you to ease back into your normal life, and also to share your experiences with the others. You know, you can have a cultural difference and similarities discussions with your family and friends. You can showcase the souvenirs that you bought, or incorporate food, music, or decoration into the party. All those things that you captured, no matter from the 5-sense standpoint or from the sound standpoint, all those things, those are the perfect things that you can share with others and have people to share, to enjoy the same joy as much as they could. Apply the new skills and insights you have gained to enrich your everyday experiences. And the most important thing, don't forget to share your learnings with the Senior Planet community. Your experiences could inspire many, many others to embark on their own adventures. Wow, I know like we're like 250 already. That is a lot of information. I hope you have captured some of those tips. As we wrap up, I hope you're feeling more inspired and empowered to embark on your own travel adventures. Remember, I want to stress this. Travel is more than just a leisure activity. It's a powerful tool for enhancing your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Whether you're exploring a new city, immersing yourself in a different culture, or simply trying a new experience in your own hometown, you don't have to travel far to get experience. But every journey has the potential to enrich your life. So go travel, go out there and enjoy the world. Now, I would like to answer any questions you may have about the topics we have discussed today. But let me stop the sharing here. Let me figure out how to do that. Let me turn on my video here.
All right. Yeah, so we encouraged everybody, Jay, to drop their questions into the chat room, and we have several questions for you. So let me start from the beginning, more or less. We have a question from Irene, and a few others were asking the same thing. Please expand on travel insurance. Any company recommendations? Thanks in advance, she says.
Yeah, so I don't have a specific recommendations, but I do think on the AARP website that there is a great article talking about those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that article and then I'm going to share with the Senior Planet so that Senior Planet, you guys can help to distribute it to others. And
Okay.
I do know, because some of the health insurance that you already have, for example, one thing that I didn't talk in depth about it is actually give them a call. Some of those are already offering the different types of travel insurance, and because you're already one of their customers, they could have a better insurance policy or a much lower cost for you as well.
Okay. And a lot of people are asking about the safety tips, if they can get maybe a handout or something that has a list of the safety tips that you mentioned. Folks, the handout that we are sharing is the handout to the tech demo portion of this presentation. So just to clear up some of the confusion there. But
Yep.
Jay, I guess, yeah, you'll be supplying.
I will be supplying that sheet to you. And when the video is made available, Johnny, maybe you can share the safety tips and the insurance information with everybody as well.
Okay, and then there was a couple of similar questions. Loretta and one from Joan. How does one find senior-friendly hotels, and how does one find pop-up grandparents?
Yeah, actually, let me try to share this. This is like some of the links I was trying to share during the presentation, but let me see here. Just give me 1 minute. There's a reason. So for example, let me just do this one here. This website is actually a really great website. It's called lingu.com. So let me do this.
And we'll be putting the link to the website in there.
Yeah, so that one is called lingu.com. It's actually one of the website that I felt probably one of the best out there. They offer many different types of homestay options or farm stay options. Some of those actually, could be on a sales boat as well.
Perfect. Okay, and then let's go to a few more questions. Oh yeah, several people were asking about the medical bracelet or the website where that could be found and other medical information.
Yes, let me share this in the link here as well. Let me just actually, this is the box. Let me just write down this for you guys to see here. My parents, each one of them have this, and they send it to all of their children and say, you guys are mandatory to have to wear this wherever you go to.
Hold it in front of you, Jay, like right in front of your body, so it won't disappear into your
virtual. Oh yeah, I'll put it into the link in here. So
okay.
Yep, it's called let me see here. HapMed. So HapMed ID. I believe it's being distributed by, let me see here. I'm just gonna put in the name here first, and I'll.
Okay, sure. And folks, there was a question that came in. Is it possible to rewatch this presentation? Yeah, this presentation is being recorded, everybody, and it should be available on our Senior Planet YouTube channel. The link is in there, and I see Saley has already responded to that. So there's that link for everyone. And then Jay has put the name of the medical ID, HapMed ID. Is that the name of the website?
Well, that's the name of the product.
Okay, oh, the product.
So that's the name of the product, and then I believe it's being distributed by Pivotal Health Tech. How does Discover Life choose destinations to showcase?
Yeah, I was going to go to that.
Answer that question.
Sue or anyone?
I'll answer that question.
Collectively answer that.
So usually we do after each of the tours we have a survey, that everybody participate. And based on the survey, one of the questions in the survey result is, if you would travel again and we don't offer, where would you like to? And if you would travel again for the tours that we do offer, where would you like to? So all of those information, every half a year, we collect those information, and that helps us decide what are the new destinations that we wanted to develop for the future tours. So we got a lot of input from our customers, like of you guys.
Excellent. All right, and then there was a really good question in there that I came across, and I think I saw Ben with his hand raised. Ben, I saw your question in the chat room. If you want to unmute and share that about having speech disabilities and physical disabilities, where can you find a travel companion? Ben, would you like to unmute and expand on your question? Or perhaps you had another question to add? Be sure to, I'm going to send you a little ask to unmute notification on your screen. You could just then click that. Might be having trouble opening his mic or her mic.
So, Johnny, the question, let me just understand. The question is, where can people find the travel
company that, yeah, like a company or website that offers travel companions for people with disabilities?
Yeah, so there are different types of disabilities. And for the people who have, so first of all, I wanted to just get back a little bit. I don't have the answer, 100% of the answer for this, because there are different types of disabilities. We do work with one of the organizations called American Council of the Blind, because we're developing a line of virtual tours specifically for the blind and low vision community. So during that conversation, I think they have mentioned about some of the tours specifically for the blind people. They did mention to me some of the organization-specific travel companies. I didn't capture those at a time. What I will do is go back and ask them to see if they have any recommendations, and I'll share those back to Johnny in the senior planning.
Okay, and then one last thing that you might want to share is the name of the book that you mentioned earlier in the presentation. A few people were asking about that. If you could put that information in the chat as we transition over to our tech demo.
Oh, the book where we were featured on, it's called what is that? It's I forgot the name of the book. Just
well, once you get it, you can put it in the chat room, Jay. We're gonna go ahead and move forward with the tech demo, and continue with that part of our presentation.
Yeah, 3 o'clock. So I will provide the book name. I think it's like a Me Too Morning or something like that. Okay. But I'll dig it out.
All right, and I'll dig it up and then share that.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, let's give Jay and everyone from Discover Live a round of applause, folks. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
If you take a look at the chat room, you're going to see a lot of great things coming in about today's presentation. About your
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Happy travels. Okay.